Welcome everyone to the Relatable Podcast. My guest today is Cihan Behlivan, co-founder of mrkos and managing director of Ride the Next Wave. I met Cihan a number of years ago, just through networking. I always really enjoy my conversations with him, and just the insight that he brings and the passion that he has for whatever he's talking about or whatever he's doing. So wanted to welcome Cihan and just wanted to open it up to you, see if you have anything to say.
Thank you, Adam. I'm grateful, to be here. I love our friendship, and I think we know each other since 2018, like nearly
I
eight
think
years.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm grateful that you're here and you're a good part of our ecosystem, and I love all of our conversations. And you're also a fellow, entrepreneur, like me. So you are my tribe. So I love being part of this.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, so I'll get us kicked off with the first question. Was there a moment or pivot point in your life that changed how you define success?
Yes, I mean, several pivots in my life. I think I can talk about the success and how do I define it. But most recently is after my divorce nearly 3.5 years ago, and being very close to my children, and very very. I was always close to my children, but being very close to my children to a great dad and build everything around them became very important to me. And so that's now the success to me is, definitely I love building things, but I love building things with the people that I love, and that's my children, my business partners, and all my stakeholders. And so love become part of the big part of my success definition.
Yeah, I think, if you one of the things I really have noticed about you is you are not afraid to use the word love with people, and sharing that with people and telling people that you love them, which I think is really a great thing, especially in today's world. And just a number of speeches you've given for your current roles and your past roles, and just I think that's really a great thing to see of people being willing to share that. What's an ongoing struggle you deal with today that people wouldn't expect, given how success is often defined by popular culture?
Um, I mean, One problem I see is, that's one of the main goals of Marcus, and because we are trying to create, honest conversations with men, so we give them vocabulary to talk to something, then we can connect them to, other men, so they can connect to human beings like men's groups. But the thing is, the way that the society defines success, the money, the houses, the boats, and the good-looking wives or three other girlfriends on the side, and it creates a I mean, inner rot in people, because then you say, hey, in order to take care of all these things, I need to make, $350,000 a year. But that's, you need to work constantly, and you become the, technically, prisoner of your own wealth or your success measure. And so if your success measure is that, and you pay a big price like it, especially when you come to your middle age, especially early 50s or late 40s, you are like saying, okay, can I carry this anymore? Or you can't, because sometimes what happens, mid 50s, you become a senior vice president, but then the people, corporate America realizes that you are not a C-level executive anymore, and they downsize, and then all of a sudden you're stuck in a life that, hey, I have this big expenses, and now if I don't work 3 months, what will happen to me? So those kinds of big cash burn rates, personal cash burn rates, put people in a spin cycle, and some men never comes out of it. So.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. And even I've been listening to some a guy named David Rubenstein, who's a founder of the Carlisle Group, and he has a few podcasts that are shows that he does, and he's talking about how even really like if you traditionally successful people who have a lot of money and who we think would be have it all are still unhappy because they've realized they've made all that money and don't know what to do with it and have missed out on kind of really the true meaning of it. But yeah, I think there's that whole if you make more money, you'll be more successful, which I've not really seen to play out for everyone or play out for really anyone if you don't have if it's not rooted in the right things.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, no, I totally agree. I mean, the thing is, the like all of us as entrepreneurs or the people, business people, we like to make money. The question to me is like, is it like aligned to your purpose? And because I mean, a couple years ago, I dated this woman, and she joined a startup, and and she was saying that she will make $3 million. I mean, that was her thing. And if you join a startup to make money, I mean, it's one of the worst reasons to join a startup, because startup life is a gut wrenching life, and your only motivation is money. When you run out of money, you will go find yourself a job, because money is your only thing. So the thing is, whenever I say people like you need to have a purpose, I mean, the purpose is very, or a meaning. You need to find some meaning somewhere. Like Marcus to me is, I don't care. Marcus becomes a $1 billion company.
Uh huh.
It can, if you play the right way, it can help millions of people. And if it doesn't matter, because if I can help 100 men not kill themselves and
Yeah.
at 11 p.m., and that pays itself.
Yeah.
Uh,
Definitely.
but when I'm out there working very hard for Marcus, and it's not about $3 million, it's about how can I connect to those men and we can help them, and if it syncs with my own purpose, my own meaning, and then I can work 24 hours. Like people tells me
Yeah.
sometimes, like, hey, you are sending me emails in the weird times of the day. What the fuck is going on? I tell people, like, it's not like I'm trying to show off, mainly
Yeah.
I don't, because now I schedule them at 8 a.m. So thank technologies, thank God. But the thing is, the purpose is, the reason is because I love what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and it sinks into my, purpose and the meaning in life. And so,
And I think that brings me up to another question I was going to ask later, but I'll go into it now. And that's my like my question of people. Your thoughts on people, whether or not people should chase their passion and what they're passionate about, or chase their purpose. And I'll kind of give some back story to this. Is that I feel like there's a lot of people who try and chase their passion or chase their purpose, but don't always do it in the right ways, and so not everyone does it like you do it. And so maybe a better way of saying it would be people try and chase their passion or their purpose, and then once they realize that it gets hard, they stop doing it. So have you found anything that's really helped you get past that, or is it just because you were so dedicated to that purpose and that passion that you have that it's that's why you keep going?
I mean, I mean, the thing is, one thing is, Adam, and when I talk about startups or starting anything, I mean, starting anything from scratch is gut wrenching. I mean, it's like, I don't recommend anyone. I mean, anyone. Like sometimes people ask me, like, do you motivate people? Because lots of people pitches me lots of things. I tell people, hell no, I don't recommend. I don't recommend people start their own things, because it's very gut wrenching. You need to be, and this isn't passion. You need to have an obsession. I mean, sometimes I define Marcus and as I'm obsessively passionate about. I mean, it's an obsession, and so this is something like like you constantly think about. I mean, you talk about it, you think about it, in your person. I mean, like it's not like I constantly wander around with my computer, but when I engage with people, when I'm in the network event and stuff, I meet with lots of men, and 2 minutes into conversation, lots of things can come to Marcus, or lots of things can come to divorce, lots of can comes to. So the thing is, I mean, this is an obsession thing, and the passion is okay, but I see lots of passionate people, when they shit hit the fan, the passion
Yeah,
goes away. And because then
yeah,
rational comes, and I say, okay, I'm passionate, but I'm not that passionate. And so that's the reason, like, my thing is, you need to believe a problem that you are solving. I mean, this is the reason I constantly talk about startups must obsess about the problems. Founders must obsess about the problems because if those problems relate to them and they relate to those problems. For example, when I go and talk to people, Marcus is for middle-aged man. I'm a fucking middle-aged man. When I go talk about Marcus, people says, "Oh, this is good." If I go and say, "Hey, I want to sell you tampons," people will look at me and say, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah.
So the point I do, you know, you need to have a connection to that problem that you are solving. You need to have some credibility. So if you do that, then it's easy because now whenever I go somewhere, I talk about Marcus. People says, "Hey, when can I use it?" So point is, it needs to be. It's not an obsession, and you need to also have an obsession to the problem. It needs to have a focus on it. And like I said, if you are saying that I'll build something for everybody, and I see those people, like they come and say, especially in the mental health space, they say, "Hey, we'll build this for everyone." I mean, what do you mean? I mean, is it
Yeah.
depression? Is it PTSD? Is it like seriously psychotic problems? What is
Yeah.
this? Oh no, it's for everybody. I mean, really? I mean, like this is saying that, hey, I will give aspirin to every cancer patient and they will be, you know,
Exactly. It'll be fine.
it's totally fine. Or who will buy that from you? People
Yeah.
will tell you you are crazy. But there are lots of people out there wandering around, no focus, with like a video in their hands, say that, hey, you will watch this and life will get better. I mean,
Yeah.
it's serious.
Yeah. No, that's
And so
great.
my point is focus on some good problem and then have some connection to the problem and you really want to solve it. I mean, you really want to help people. Then when those shit hit the fan moments comes, which in a startup, in a entrepreneurial life, 80% of the time we solve problems. I mean, I'm doing this so many times, I never remember 2 months of all happiness. 2 days shit goes, and third day, you get a client call and say, guys, we just fired you. And now, like, holy shit, what will I do? So my point is, if you have an obsessively passionate about a problem that you are part of it, I mean, it makes life easier for everyone.
No, that's great. I think that's a great way of putting it because I think, like you've said, people if this shit hits the fan and you're not willing to go into it and deal with it, then you're not really gonna be passionate about it. And you're not obsessed with it. Uh, so, what is the worst advice been given about success?
Word is wise. uh, I mean, the thing is that I think I mean, this is a general advice. I mean, somebody didn't give this to me. But the thing is, the general advice out there is hard work. Hard work is kind of an hygiene factor. It must be there, but it's not necessary. I mean, it doesn't make the differentiation. So you need to do hard work, but also you need to build relationships and stuff. So if somebody comes and say, "Hey, go to the room and hard work a lot," and then you build something, it's like 90% of the time it doesn't work. I mean, now like you can say, hey, maybe you are so technical and you can sit somewhere and build something. I mean, now AI, I mean, I can prompt shit and I can do it.
Yeah.
I don't need that much super, engineering powers too. And so so my point is, and I mean, general worst advices I got is like saying that you need to work hard and this is how you do it. I tell people, oh, that's one part of the equation, but the bigger part of it is the relationships. Like, okay, you are working hard. Whatever you are working for, you need to build the relationships because those relationships open doors, and then actually you can build the business. Because to me, is building a software is not the big part of it. Big part of it is the business part of it, and it really needs human relationships.
No, I love that. I think that's even more important in the age of AI is that being able to care about those relationships and manage those relationships is going to be something that's critical because there's a lot of people who I know who are just building businesses with AI and relying on everything for making AI do everything and don't understand how to talk to their customers or how to talk to people and how to work with people. So, what is one mistake that you've made that taught you an important lesson on about success?
That's a good one. Let's see. Um, I mean, in the first startup, first startup I started is like 2008, 2009, and just after the Great Depression. So we started a company called Care Outcomes. We did lots of patient report outcomes. And one mistake I did there is, I mean, it comes to the relationships again. I sometimes talk about this. I thought that if I work hard and people will know me, I mean, it's very arrogant, like thought process. It's also a lazy thought process because, building relationships is not easy. Especially like, I came to this country as a student. So technically, Minneapolis, I came, I don't have a family. Like I came to this country, I don't have any family, so nobody introduced me anyone. So it was like that thing was hard for me, but I paid the price for it because I worked very hard, but I didn't build relationships. I didn't, and I told myself these lies like, "Hey, you're an introvert and stuff," which I'm
Yeah,
not. And then like I said, if I work hard, everything will fine. I work very hard. We sold the company, but if I have the relationships, and then also if I listen to clients a little bit better, and I believe that company will be way more successful. And but my point is the mistake I did there is the relationships. And so if and this isn't only like client relationships, it's every relationship. So sometimes when I look back, if I have like 1/10 of the relationships I have right now, that company will be in a way better place. But again, you see, we make these mistakes for a reason, and we learn, and then I fixed it. Because after that, I asked myself, what is missing? That I'm missing one thing or several things that I need to add, and it can be my also superpower, that the relationships.
yeah.
And
So I want to go a bit deeper into that kind of your answer because I think that's it's really insightful. Because I think there's a lot of people who uh, see kind of where they need to grow. So I think there's like a few things that are playing in this right now. So one, a lot of times people look at where they need to grow and aren't sure where to start. If they should start at something that they're still really good at, or start at something that they're lacking at or need to improve upon. And how did you go about trying to improve those relationships? Maybe from a perspective of like how do you keep yourself focused on that? Does that make sense? I feel like there's a lot of people who want to improve but don't know how to get started or don't know what to do.
can you repeat the last part again?
Like how did you? I'll rephrase it because I can't remember it exactly. But how did you determine to focus on the skill of building relationships? 'Cause I think you are really good at it, and more from a perspective of if you know you're bad at something, or if you need to improve on something, how do you stay focused on that without being uh, like a kind of derailed by the fact that you're bad at it? If that helps.
I mean, first of all, you ask a very good question. So the thing is that I tell everybody, and in my, this is my thing, and in my businesses, I do it the same way. So the reason I worked on my relationships because I knew that it's a superpower for me. I'm good at this. I didn't do it because I was lazy. I didn't do it because I was like telling myself stories and stuff. I was shy, or I don't know what the fuck is that. But I was like, it's a new country. I can tell lots of shit. It's like I was technically self-medicating me with some stupid bullshit in my own mind.
Yeah,
But and the reason is, after we sold this company, we acquired this, clinic and in Port Townsend, Washington. And I went to this town, Port Townsend. I didn't know anybody. And I mean, in a year, I built so much relationships. Even people were joking me, like, do you want to become the mayor? This is how much I build relationships in the town that I didn't know
Yeah.
1 year ago, one person.
Yeah.
And so when I came back from that, and then decided to go another, stay on the tech business side, I said, this is my superpower, and then I will put my, everything on it, and I build it. So, but this doesn't mean that I also weaknesses. I have lots of weaknesses, like all of us. I mean, I'm not a good writer. I'm not a very extremely detail-oriented person. I am not extremely technical. Like, I understand technology, I can build technology businesses, but I will never go and sit down and learn how to code and stuff because I don't give a shit about it. So, so my point is, if in your gut you feel like you can turn something into a superpower, go build on it, go work on it. But if something is there, like saying, like, like being a writer is, like, I will never go to University of St. Thomas literature department and say, hey, I want to be, Mark Twain. I mean, there's no way. Mark Twain will look at me and fart to my face, which, like, like in 2 sentences. So it's so the point is, when it comes to my weaknesses, I complement them with, like, with partners and stuff, like,
Yeah.
like at Ride the Next Way, my business partner Shailesh is an amazing technologist and a businessman, and so he does the technology. Then we have, like, AI engineers, we hire them doing the engineering, and I do the fun things, like I do marketing, I do sales, I do partnerships, I do crazy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
And so, but that's what I love to do, and that's my superpower. So my point is, in this world, if you want to differentiate yourself, I mean, life is all about differentiation. And you need to find your superpower and you need to work on it. But if something really sucks, do not spend time on it because it's impossible for you to bring it somewhere. If you, I mean, you can work on your soccer skills. I mean, the thing is, like, Michael Jordan could work on soccer skills. I believe he would be a bad soccer player.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
concentrated on basketball, and
Yeah.
he's Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He's a legend. So,
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. And when you're talking about how you were telling yourself, like the self medication of you telling yourself that you were not great at, or an introvert and not great at building relationships, it reminded me of the fact that there's a part of your brain that pays attention to patterns. And so if you ever have bought a new car, and then all of a sudden you see that exact same car and that exact same color all the time, that's like part of that. That's part of your brain, and that's what I always think about when people are telling themselves that they can't do something or they can't figure things out. Is that your brain starts to listen to you and actually sees the patterns and starts to point them out to you, and just being able to stop that pattern is such a helpful thing. And start to pay attention to what doesn't matter, and that goes back to your whole thing of motivation. Because I'm not a huge fan of motivation because I think it's not real, or it's real for a little bit, but not something that external motivation is not real and not helpful. So I like that a lot. That's really helpful. So thank you.
yeah, I can talk about external. I mean, there's a, local company in this town, and his
Uh,
founder talks about morning motivators. I
yeah.
mean, to me, it's like it's one of the funniest thing and
Uh,
ever created in life. Some
yeah.
narcissistic person will come out every morning and tell you, "Hey, Adam, life is beautiful. Birds are, farting. The hippos are jumping, and let's go." And then
Yeah.
you like, "Holy shit! This guy tell me this. A morning motivator, and my life changed." This shows how some people are really disconnected from the realities of human psychology because
Yeah.
motivation comes from within.
Yeah.
And shit happens to us all the time. I mean, you can wake up and you get a message from, this is the same thing. People come and pitches me stuff like, hey, like, we will do, mental health and we'll connect it to your, Apple, iWatch, and then we'll get some, things and we'll give you some. And it's like, if I have, like, excited, like if my blood pressure goes up, it will say, hey, calm down, life is beautiful. And one day I asked one of them, I said, what if I get a call from school and my child fell down from the third floor, and then, in the intensive care unit on an ambulance, and I'm rushing to the hospital, And then you, I mean, because I have a, I will have a very heightened blood
Yeah.
pressure at that time because I'm very nervous. And then your app will send me a message and say, hey, life is beautiful, birds are flying, why don't
Yeah.
you call now? And then he's like looking at me. I said, "Do you know what will happen?" I said, "I will come to your office. I will stick that phone app to your nose because this is how lots of mental health people minimizes the complexity of human condition." And so, but if you go to motivation, I can talk about it all day long. But motivation comes from inner self. I mean, it's an inner thing. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you'd like to, I mean, I think that'd be great because I think that's something that people I think would really enjoy on the podcast. So, what are your anything else you'd want to add about kind of intrinsic motivation or inner motivation?
I mean, inner motivation. I mean, it's just like I said. It's about your, it's about your purpose. It's about your obsession. It's what you are doing in life. I mean, Viktor Frankl wrote a book about this
Yeah.
logotherapy. It's about the meaning of life. Like what is meaningful for you. I mean, I'm a big fan of Martin Seligman. Positive psychology. He has a PERMA model, like positive emotions and engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. So those five areas, if you bring those things, and then if they are aligned in you, and you can wake up, and looking the world is in a positive way. This doesn't mean happiness, like people take differently. Like when I say positivity, always some corporate America person tells me, "Oh, it's toxic positivity." I said, toxic positivity doesn't have anything to do with positivity. Toxic positivity technically means that I am faking my life last 25 years. I'm
Yeah.
not me. I have a facade. I'm just playing games. I'm like a greatest actor in the world. So
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with positivity. That has nothing to do with. That means that you're a good liar.
Yeah.
And but positive psychology is mainly, even you get cancer, you can say, "Hey man, I lived 75 years, a good life. Even if it ends now, I have good children. I mean,
Uh-huh.
maybe I will be dying, but at least I won't die like a like a self-pitying
Yeah.
form,
Yeah.
because I can look at things from a positive angle. This doesn't mean that you are so happy that you are dying.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, I like that a lot. I think that's a great way of looking at it because I'm with you on the positivity side of there's a realness to it, and it's not the toxic positivity where you're always faking it and always trying to pretend like it is. And like just I know from some of the conversations we've had and what we've talked about, and some of our mutual friends of what they've one of the recent one went through is this that can't always be you know pretending like everything's great because it's not the truth, but you can also look for something in there that you can take away and learn from and grow from. So definitely love that view on that. Um, so who's been a positive influence in your life, and how did they shape the way you think about success or work?
Positive influence. I'm just thinking from, so it's like general, like my heroes in life that I look at, or like personal connections, and is it
I mean, it's really open to you. So if there's anything, if someone's jumping into your mind right away, I'd say go with that one.
so many of them? Let's see. That's a, because I read lots of stories about lots of people, and
Yeah.
I mean the thing is, I mean, this is a weird one, but one thing is, I think she's very instrumental. I mean, in my growth as my grandma, and it's a very weird to say that, but because she taught me, by being kind. I mean, not nice, by being kind, by being thoughtful, and and in this world you can move, mountains. And because my grandma was very kind, very loving, very quiet person, but in her life, in her family and stuff, she raised 7 kids, had an amazing marriage with a very tough guy. My grandpa was a very tough man, but that woman, I never see her once shout. I never see her once get angry, and so sometimes when I try to lose my marbles, it always goes back there and say, you know, think about your grandma. So and so that's, I can say, hey, I have this business people, I read these books, but the point is, life is about emotional control, especially when you are a businessman or building something. And so in those times, if you can find some calmness, which my grandma gives me, she's not here anymore, but that's really helps me to keep me together. So.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's great. And I think, you know, especially when it comes to the definition of success, as there's a lot of people who, in the traditional way, see it as knowing everything and being in control and like being the leader in a traditional sense as well. And that whole kindness piece is rarely talked about, but I think is such a critical piece of how you think about how you want to lead your life and the impact that you want to lead or impact that you want to leave, or kind of how just overall how you want to live is a great thing to think about. So I really like that. Um, so was there a is there a book that has stands out to you about that's influenced the way you think about life, work, success, and why did it matter to you?
So one other thing is, I want to talk about. I want to say, besides the business side of it, I want to talk about someone. This guy just died a couple months ago, and he's the CEO chairman of a company called Barry Wehmiller, and
Oh yeah,
it's an industrial firm.
uh-huh.
I met him once, 2018, I think nearly 8 years ago. He wrote a book about Everybody Matters.
Yeah,
So the thing is, the reason why I'm telling this is because um, in all my companies, I have 4 core principles. Always human, and always fearless, always transparent, and always curious. But always human comes from Bob Chapman. And I want everybody, read the Everybody Matters book, because suddenly he asked himself, like, if I treat, everyone like, like my own children, would I treat them like the corporate America treats? So they did lots of cool things with this industrial firm. This is not like a, very cool technology firm and stuff. So you are very profitable and stuff. This guy implemented these methods with very blue collar structure, and it worked, and they are still profitable, and so my point is, one of my purposes in life is build companies that people come in and they treat it good, and then they leave, and then when they go home, and they still being good, and they
yeah,
don't go fake it. They go and say, hey, like my managing director just shit on my face, now I'll go shit on my wife's face
yeah,
or my
yeah,
my children's face, because this is how this goes. I
yeah,
mean, and this is very, corporate America, like I said, everybody talks about how cool they are, cute they are. And then, they every quarter they fire 20% of their, workforce. And then HR people also like writes lots of things on LinkedIn, isn't it? They say, humans are amazing, we love them. And then next day they go fire 10 people. And so Bob Chapman didn't do it. And so my point is, always human is important. We need to treat people. And when I will tell you one story, I met this person 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago. He's in his early 40s. And and I was talking to him. He said now he started a new job. I mean, this isn't like a 20-year-old young dude. I can see that. Like, he is heavily traumatized. And he said, John, like my previous work, and my manager was openly in the meetings telling me that how stupid I am, how dumb I am. Can you imagine like people talk to each other like that? Like, if my 16-year-old talks to the 12-year-old like that, he will have serious trouble with me. In corporate America, people thinks that at their 50s they have right to talk like that, and then these assholes goes home and teach their children and how to be kind. I mean,
Yeah,
let's drop the hypocrisy. If you're a good human being, be a good human being at the work, be a good human being at the home. But they can't. So my point is, if somebody wants to learn about, how to be human, please read Bob Chapman, Everybody Matters. And he was an amazing guy. And I'm glad that, there's someone out there and who took the flag and proved that, human centered, leadership works. So
yeah. No, I feel like it's amazing how many people get promoted to leadership roles who just have such an ego about them. I guess it's not amazing, but just and that is still tolerated in today's workforce. And I just have
they are not
I
leaders.
know. Go ahead.
They are not leaders. We don't call
No,
them leaders. They are
no.
managers.
Yeah,
We call them managers. They are management. I mean, to me, it's like in my organizations, we don't have managers. I don't call anyone managers because management means that technically a manipulation. You tell
yeah,
people do them what you want to do. Leadership is different. You
yeah,
lead. People figure out how they do whatever they need to do, and they do it because
yeah,
people are smart. And
yeah,
like I said, Spotify had a advertisement said, "We hire adult people and we treat them like adults." Most corporate America hires adult people, they treat them like children. So
no. Then they wonder why. And this is getting a little bit out, but they wonder why no one wants to work for them. And I think this is like two of the things that really get me frustrated are one, when companies talk about employees are no longer loyal to them. I'm like, well, that's because you're no longer loyal. You're the one that created this because you built, you created your company such, or you changed your company such a way that they're no longer loyal to you or have no reason to be loyal to you. And also, customer loyalty is dead too because of what companies have done. And again, I think it's always that my big theory is that like you said, management who does it all, and it's people who have never been have never done the real work of working with customers or working with their team, and they've just been in this kind of this ivory castle or ivory tower the entire time and have no idea what they're doing. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I mean, that's if you go, in your relationship and then treat your, girlfriend, boyfriend every day horrible, and then when you get sick and if they don't come home, do you go and say, "Oh, you are not loyal to me. I get sick." And the thing is that, like I said, loyalty, all these things you cannot ask. Love, you cannot say. It's a verb thing. It's like you need to do. And you cannot go and say, "Hey, we love our, team." And so, but then you miss 1% your sales numbers, you fire three people. And
Yeah,
so what kind of love is that?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I mean, so what do you want from them? Loyalty. This is the same thing. Sometimes people tells me like, "Oh, they didn't give 2 weeks notice." I said, "Are you firing people with 2 weeks notice?" No, it's a courtesy thing.
yeah,
It is, but at the same
yeah,
time, like, why are you criticizing them?
yeah,
What is it? Like, if I want to quit a job, I will give you 2 weeks. But if you want to fire me, you can fire me now, and and treat me like horrible. Like, I have lots of friends, they got fired, and then immediately the security officers showed up at their door in a
yeah,
minute, and then we tell people like, "Oh, why people are not loyal, or why people do not trust us, because you don't do anything trust building." So
yeah. No, that's yeah, whole lot in there. Um, and it's always just it's so strange to see it still being allowed and people still believing that's a great way to act. Um, but like kind of my final question for us, and I'll open it up to you. How do you stay grounded as expectations, responsibility, or visibility increase?
I mean, one trick I found is being grateful, and gratefulness practice helped me. And because sometimes you are working on so many things, you are saying, "Hey, I will do this, I will raise this, I will scale this fast." And when that happens, and the I tell myself like I have a nice place I live, I have children healthy, and I have good friends, I have good family, and you know, and I'm grateful for it. And it really grounds me. And because lots of time I see people are constantly chasing this, unending stuff, and without being any gratefulness, without being any, appreciation of what they have. And so that's important. And like, or sometimes you slow down and look around and say, hey, Adam is a great friend of mine, and when I meet with him and we have good coffee and we talk about life, I mean, that's beautiful. And
Yeah,
because lots of people don't. I mean, we are constantly in a running thing, but the problem is, you know, at one point you will slow down because that's how life operates. And then lots of people, when they look back, there's nothing behind because constantly all their life is they are running from something, and or they create a, I call it like a kind of a burn trail, and
uh-huh.
they burn everything. And
Yeah,
because some people also I see in this life, they think that they can backstab, hurt everybody, and they can still cheat, lie, and then
yeah,
there won't be any consequences. It always does. Life is a small place. You cannot run from everything, and then one day you can sit down with the people, you know you say something bad or do something bad, and then they look at your face and say, tough titty, now
yeah,
what should we do? And
yeah,
then you can say, hey, I'm so sorry, man. And
yeah.
so my point is, be grateful, be kind, and be loving. And I think life is worth to live for.
Well, I think that is a great way to end the podcast. And unless you have anything else you'd like to add.
No, man, I'm all good. I'm all good.
Awesome.
It's always nice to talk to you.
Yeah, great. Well, I will. I was gonna. I'll stop the recording and see. Just I'll. But be right back.